This is a demonstration of the Alembic export UI. To install it, I'm going to create a new shelf, but you can put it onto any shelf that you currently have. So navigate to the shelf that you want the script to be on. Then open up your downloaded files. Select the Python script and just drag and drop that into your Maya session. That's going to place this button here onto your shelf. Next, we can select which assets we want to be exported at their top level and run our script. Now here this check mark is going to show which assets are going to be exported and which ones are going to be skipped over. For mass setting, we can use the enable all and disable all buttons. We also have access to selection, and when right click we can enable selected and disable selected. We can refresh our selection and we can add to selection. If you try and add things to your selection that are already there, they won't be added, only the new things. Next, we can select some items and we want to combine them into a common ancestor. That's going to find the nearest ancestor that accounts for all of them and create one entry. Then, should we want to remove something entirely from the list, we can select what we want, right click, and just click remove. We can also scan for skinned mesh. So for that, I'll go up to Functions and Scan for Skinned Mesh. So that's given us a long list of assets. And I can merge those all the way down to this geo. Next, let's select these again. Refresh our selection. So now we can see that each of these are currently being exported at a frame range of 1 to 100. That's currently defined here in the frame range source area by our playback bar, which is this bar over here. If we instead want that to be set by a different value, we can set it to the full range, which is going to update here, and set it from there to there. We can also set it to our render settings, or to the keyframes on a per asset basis. This is going to recursively search down through the asset hierarchy to find the earliest and the latest keyframe. Should we then want to customize that ourselves, we can double click on the frame range area and we can type in the range we want. Now that range is marked in blue because it's an override, and that means that when we change this setting again, it's not going to be updated. Should we want that to be updated again, we can right click and clear the user override. You can also set the frame range to be a single frame by just typing in a number. It can also include negative frame ranges. Now if you want to reset your user overrides on everything, you can go up to Functions and you can use the Clear All User Overrides option. Then on a per asset basis, we can set what we want the export step to be. If you're ever confused about what each of these means, you can hover over and you can get a tooltip. So double click on the step to set that to what you want to be. So now this will render out every second frame and this will render out every fifth frame. Next, on a per asset basis, we're able to set a frame relative sample. So we can look up here to see how that should be done. When we hit enter, we'll see that it reorders itself to be from the lowest number to the highest number. If we were to type in something random, it'll retain the previous number. Next, let's look at our flag settings. These flags are going to control how our export occurs for each asset, and we have the ability to save these into presets. So let's make a preset of our own. We can uncheck every second one of these and check version up but not include scene name. This preset's also going to save our frame range source, so we'll keep that at keyframes. And save this as new one. Now we can go back and we can reapply it and we'll see that it's all set. The presets are saved inside of your project directory, so they remain available between your Maya files as long as it's in the same project, and they can be copied and pasted into other Maya projects should that be necessary. You can also overwrite the current one, and you can delete it. And you can rename. So next, let's run an export. With our default settings, we can see here that the version is set to 2. If we disable version up, that'll go back to 1. If we hardcode this, then that's going to stay as it is. This version can be typed in as v05, or just 05, or just 5. But if you type in something random, it'll retain the previous value. Now let's export. So here you can see that it's exporting the subframes due to frame relative sample. You can track the progress of the export both here and through the highlighted value in this graph. And then we can open our output directory, where we can see all of our exports.